Hey folks, my name is Jen, and today, on this rather chilly and blustery day, we're gonna talk about my fall vibes. Pro tip, don't eat a bunch of spicy sweet chili Doritos before you start filming, or you're just gonna have to drink all of the soda and then burp all of the time. Anyways, what have my fall vibes been? Usual vibes videos. If you've been around here a while, you know the spiel. But if you're new to this, I will let you know when I say vibes. They are seasonal vibes. They are basically my vibes for this season. What they are, what they have been. I follow the five senses as far as these vibes go. So by these five senses, I mean we're talking about things that I'm listening to, things that I'm watching, things taste, so food and drink, scents of the seasons, and also instead of feel, I substitute it with doing. What have I been doing? So here we go. So first up, we'll do the big ones, the usual big ones, the listening. What shit have I been listening to lately? A lot of different stuff, really. As far as music goes, it's my usual, a lot of Sleeping with Sirens, as is custom at this juncture. But I also have been listening to the new Yellowcard album that I was so very excited for. That came out not too long ago. The album is called Better Days. They actually released a couple of them prior to the actual album being released. They were Better Days, Take What You Want, and Honestly I think out of those three top songs, Better Days is probably my favorite one. I think that was a good opener for the album. It really feels like the quintessential Yellowcard track, but also has a nice kind of newer sound to it as well. I adore Love Letters Lost and You Broke Me Too, City of Angels, Bedroom Poster, Skin Scrape, Barely Alive, Big Blue Eyes makes me feel lots of emotions. That one it sounds like that's one that Ryan wrote for his son, which is very sweet and just really adorable. I think my favorite track of everything is probably Better Days and also Skin Scraped. That one also definitely jams to me. Definitely my favorites off of that album. I've also been listening to a lot of Noah Kahan. Of course, it's that time of the year, basically, when his music just hits oh so right. And I love his music any time of year, but especially the fall is just the perfect time for that. Also been listening to a lot of this kind of local-ish artist. He's a Massachusetts artist, Hazel Bloom. It's like alternative pop, pretty much like that. I've had his song Growing Pains stuck in my head. It has like this really sweet is it a riff? I don't know. I'm not so good at like the musical terms. Not being a musician really, but I think it's a riff. It's this one great part of that song that just really gets stuck in my head and itches like this musical scratch that I like. So yeah, I've been listening to a lot of him lately. I also been listening to my usual fall mix. It's got Noah Kahan, it's got Goo Goo Dolls, it's got Fleetwood Mac, it's got like a lot of different stuff on it. Some jazz and stuff like that. I've been listening to a lot of jazz. I had people over fairly recently for my birthday. I just put some like fall time jazz, some autumnal jazz on the whole time, and it added like a nice little chill air to the evening. So I do love jazz any time of year. It is a style of music that I find very soothing and comforting and stuff, and I especially like to hear it in the fall. Let's see what else I've been listening to. Oh, Sabrina Carpenter's new album. Frankly, I don't think I enjoy it as much as her previous album, although I wouldn't call myself like a major fan of hers or anything. I enjoy some of her sound, and then some of it I just feel like I don't want to be like a judgy ass or something, but some of it feels almost like a try hard kind of thing. Like it's really she's really trying to like shock people or be suggestive in some, like it's not just being suggestive to be out there, but more like it's just really trying hard to be, if you understand me at all. I don't know. I'm probably just being an asshole. But it's alright. Like I said, I don't think I like the new stuff as much as her previous album, although I do have to say the House Tour one is an earworm that has been stuck in my head a lot, so there's that. As far as other new albums have been, Hayley Williams, like her album, I can't remember if I talked about this last time or not. But her, is it like even an album by itself? Yeah, it is. Ego Death at a Bachelorette Party, I guess, is what it is. I haven't listened to that album, I suppose. I've been listening to a lot of her singles. A lot of the singles that come off that album, I haven't listened to the full thing. It just came out very recently, like Friday it looks like. But I have listened to a bunch of the singles off of it, especially True Believer. That one also scratches a musical itch for me, but in a way, not like in like a sound way, like I was talking about with that Hazel Bloom song, but more in a lyric way. Kind of like how when James and the Shame came out with that album, what is it, Human Overload, where I obsessively listened to that multiple times in a week. Very much like in the same similar way to that, or to Playing God, which is a Paramore song from like years ago. It is pleasing to me as someone who deconstructed, sort of. Hard to say deconstructed when I didn't really construct in the first place, really. But I guess there's still levels of that, stuff within there. It's pleasing to me in that way. So I will have to sit down and listen to this album in its entirety, because I did really enjoy all of the singles off of it, especially True Believer. I'm sure you guys have probably seen, if you are a fan of hers or you've been listening at all, you've probably seen the recent performance she did, I think it was on Jimmy Fallon, of that song. It was good job, Hayley Williams. Let's see, music-wise, anything else? Oh yes, Sleep Token. This is not going to be another booktubers rant on Sleep Token. It's just, went on drives with a friend recently who very into Sleep Token. She's a big fan of theirs, and so I've listened to some of it here and there, and I do have one of the songs on a playlist that I listen to a lot for writing, but I've never really spent like a lot of time. I don't know anything about the lore. I haven't dug into it. I don't think I'm going to, really, but I'm still like kind of on the fence about how I feel about it sometimes, because I find it really intriguing and interesting, the music, like all the different things that are kind of mixed in, like I forget what new song, I think it's off the latest album, but it's just like, it starts off as like a plaintive electronic thing if he was into heavy metal, and then at the end there's suddenly fucking saxophone. It sounds like 80s jazz pop thing going on. It's confusing, but interesting mix of things, really, is the whole, their whole thing. So I'm finding it interesting, and also, I guess, almost repellent at the same time, because some of it, my brain is like, I don't understand what's happening right now. Sometimes I like the voice, sometimes I'm like, there's weird effects happening here that I don't know if I like them, and that kind of thing. But it's weird. I can say there's only like a couple of songs that I have heard of theirs, and I haven't listened to everything. There's only really a couple of songs that I actually like the song all the way through. More often with their songs, I start out liking it, and then the ending happens, and I'm like, I don't like this anymore. Or vice versa. I'm kind of on the fence about a song, and then this one part happens near the end, and I'm like, oh shit, this is awesome. Yeah, I've been kind of hopping in here and there. I know that they're like really big on Book Talk, which makes sense, I guess. And then I think somewhat big on here as well. Probably not gonna hear any super fan stuff from me. I don't know, who are they? Do they call themselves something? Tokenites? Sleepers? I don't know. I don't know what anybody calls themselves when they're fans of stuff. But I am finding it very intriguing, and at least a couple of songs are like fit the vibe of some of what I've been writing. So kind of good for that. Other things that I've been listening to, podcasts. So we have my usual kind of spooky podcasts. Can't remember if I mentioned them the last time, actually, now that I think about it. There are a couple of podcasts that I have really been into. You know, I have my usuals, Let's Not Meet, Fresh Hell Podcast. I did get a little behind in Podmortem. I think I talked about them probably last year, earlier this year or something. They are a horror movie podcast. It's basically scene by scene horror film reviews. And then the hosts are Travis, Renee, and John Paul. And they do like behind the scenes information, like trivia and stuff like that. They also do commentary. They're very funny. I also learn a lot about the horror genre in general and the people, the like movers and shakers and stuff like that within there. And I just really enjoy it because I really like horror movies, but I am also a coward. And my husband does not really like horror movies, and I don't always like watching them by myself. I get scared, you know? So I enjoy watching them with other people. And also, I'm very picky about the stuff that I watch. You know, my sweet spot stories are haunted house stories. I really like haunted house stories, and I oftentimes like horror stories that have other major things in it. You know, like how The Shining is also kind of like a family drama, something that's like that, you know, it's a horror movie, but there's some grief work in there and stuff like that. I like when there's underlying things. It's not just like scare your pants off the whole time. I enjoy all of that. And I also enjoy horror that doesn't take itself so seriously sometimes. I'm not a fan of gore. I'm not a fan of violence for the sake of violence. I'm not a fan of certain tropes and things that happen to be in different things. Slashers, I used to like those. I can't hardly stomach them anymore. Unless they're like kind of old, like Halloween, where it's like so clearly the graphics and like the special effects, they're there and they're interesting, but they're not gonna leave me questioning whether someone died in the making of the movie. Like, so I'm really picky. So a lot of these are great because then I get to hear reviews of these movies, a lot of which I will never watch because it's not my cup of tea, or there are definitely things in there that will be incredibly upsetting for me. Or ones that I'm like, you know what, this doesn't sound half bad, and even though I'm kind of spoiled for how the movie was, I still want to watch it because it does sound pretty cool and I want to see it for myself. So I enjoy that, and it's also fun to listen to reviews of ones that I have liked or not liked, things that I have watched before, which is great. So I'm a little behind in theirs because I was doing like a big re-listen earlier. So I'm a little behind on there, but I still really enjoy their podcast. I have been listening to a lot of that. I can't remember if I said anything about these other spooky ones. I feel like I said something about My Victorian Nightmare before. That is one of my new favorite podcasts. It is hosted by oh shit, what is her name? Genevieve, isn't it? It's another Jen. She does all kinds of stuff in her podcast, like specifically focusing in on the Victorian era, but she'll do like the Seance Room, where she talks about articles from the spirituality paper or magazine from the time. She'll do articles on haunted Victorians of the time period, and then she'll also like focus in on specific things. Like for example, the Stanley Hotel was a recent episode that I really enjoyed. Or the Crescent Hotel, spiritual manifestations, the Mary Celeste, you know, that old goat ship. You know, a lot of different spooky places. She'll also focus on Victorian murders, murder cases, and mysterious deaths and freaky things, and certain aspects of Victorian culture. I find her episodes really awesome. They're a lot of fun. They're very interesting, kind of morbid. I also really enjoy the host herself. Seems like such a very kind person. She's also a little bit witchy, if you're into that. She's really cool. She's a lot of fun. I also really love her episodes where she uses sound effects and things like that to take someone into this place, like into a morgue or the graveyard or a party or something where some crazy event or something is going to happen. I love how she kind of weaves that in with her storytelling and stuff. And yeah, I really love this this a lot. I honestly am probably going to do a re-listen of that whole podcast while I work on Christmas presents this year. Just because it's very chill, and she also has a very soothing voice. Very good to listen to. I don't know if I mentioned the Midnight Library before, but that is also a very entertaining podcast. The hosts are Miranda Merrick and Mr. Darling. Mr. Darling is a werewolf, basically. And Miranda Merrick is a very interesting person. A sorceress, if you will. This is a fictional setting that also happens to tell real life things, or, you know, some storytelling of factual things, real things, basically. It's the setting where you in this town head to the Midnight Library and get information as the guest of the library in these different topics, like palmistry, Highgate Cemetery, for example. Let's see, witch trials, Victorian funeral costumes. That's been a pet interest of mine lately, as morbid as that fucking sounds. Vampires, mermaids, you know, different information that they have on stories and legends and things collected over the years. Very interesting. There's also, like, you get fictional stories of these characters over time as well. But it's very immersive, and really entertaining. And it's got that, like, spooky little vibes to it that I find really particularly delightful. So that's another one that I've really been enjoying. And it's also a great one to listen to, especially this time of year, because of the aesthetic, but also just it's entertaining in general. I also, kind of spooky, has been Radio Rental. It was originally hosted by Terry Carnation. It was played by Rainn Wilson, who you might know as the delightfully awkward Dwight Schrute from The Office. It took me like a couple episodes to be like, wait, I know that voice. Why do I know that voice? Realized who it was. There is a new host now, so actually I've kind of stopped listening to it by the second episode as the new host started. I forget what his name is. He's voiced by Jeff Foxworthy, who is alright, but it's not Terry Carnation. So, but it's basically like a video rental store that has videos that they show you of real life spooky stories. And it's like people telling you. It's like this fictional thing, kind of hooks and stuff going on, and then it actually plays the tapes of people telling you their own spooky stories, whether they're paranormal or whether they are people being terrifying. They're haunting experiences of other people. Like if you like listening to the Let's Not Meet podcast, it's similar to that, only as people's actual voices telling you the stories. So that has been also really entertaining. I listened to a whole chunk of that until we got the new host, and now I'm kind of on the fence if I want to finish listening to it or not. I also started listening to a little bit of Haunted American History. That one at first I kind of took as like, oh, this is another one of ghost stories and stuff like that, how entertaining. The host himself is entertaining, but the problem is that while it is really interesting and I am finding it kind of, like I said, entertaining and everything, it embellishes a lot. It's not so much like, as much as I can say factual things about ghost stories and legends and stuff like that. I mean, the facts as they are currently documented instances of people reporting things. That's what I mean, basically, by factual things. I understand that a lot of this paranormal stuff is like debatable or controversial on whether or not there's any truth to them or anything. But I mean, as far as people know, the stories that people pass along, that's basically it. It's interesting because there is some of that shared that seems pretty good, but then it seems like the host is definitely like doing a lot of writing. They're doing a lot of fictional writing to insert themselves or people into these real things, real instances, real happenstances and things like that, which is, it is kind of entertaining, I guess, because it's keeping it within the veins of ghost story. It's not just purely like going to the cryptozoology museum, for example, and be like, yeah, here's the spooky story, now let me show you all of the scraps of hair that Sasquatch left behind, or whatever the fuck, you know. It's not like scientists trying to prove science of something that probably doesn't exist. It's more getting right into the nitty-gritty of like when you were at camp, I guess, or you were sitting around a fireplace with your grandparents and they decided to tell you this spooky ass fucking story from where they grew up. You know, it's still keeping in that kind of vein of things, which is entertaining, but it's definitely something that's different than I thought it was originally. I'm still listening to it a little bit. It's just I'm not taking it as seriously as I guess I was initially, like I would with any other psychology related thing than just like straight up ghost stories and shit. And then I also, what I've really been doing most recently, like in the lead up to Halloween and a little bit after, I have been binging the fuck out of Ghost in the Burbs, which is a podcast hosted by Liz Sauer. This is a podcast that is about the people of Wellesley, Massachusetts, and the paranormal shenanigans that happen in such a town. I feel like if you've been around here a while, you've probably heard me talk about this podcast before. You probably might even remember that me and one of my besties took a trip to Wellesley a couple of years ago just to check it out and find these places that are mentioned within. We actually went to K Brada, which is a bakery, and grabbed some stuff from there. Went to the Wellesley Free Library, walked around on one of the trails that I believe was by Mopo. So, been little weirdos and did that. It is very entertaining. Definitely listen from the beginning if you wanted to listen to this podcast. I would say 100% listen to the beginning. Liz Sauer has collected these ghost stories from Wellesley. She also does stories outside of Wellesley as well. Definitely listen from the beginning, though, I will say. I have to say there's only one story that I skipped. Every other thing I've listened to again, even though there are some that are not necessarily my favorites because of the level that they freak me out. But there is only one that I did indeed skip. Just because it had to do not only with something really scary, but it also had to do with like cult stuff, and cult stuff really agitates me. So the combination of the two, I was like, I can't listen to this at work. So I skipped that episode, but everything else I've been re-listening to. I think I'm a couple episodes behind from where we are currently, so I do need to catch up anyway. But yeah, it's been a delight re-listening to these. Liz is very entertaining. The way she tells a story is just so much fun. And diving into this setting again has been really interesting, very entertaining, very fun. Really, really love visiting it again. Other things that I've started listening to, I started listening to Reading Smut, which I can't remember if I mentioned previously or not, but it is a podcast that is hosted by Bree and Mallory, who you might know from the podcast Reading Glasses. I have listened to a few episodes of that podcast. It deals with like bookish things, but Reading Smut is like more specifically, they will read smut. So they have episodes where they review specific pieces of smut they've read previously, and then they have episodes where they meet they have guests and stuff like that, and then they talk about specific things having to do with the smut or romance genre, gay fan fiction, or romantasy, smut as a cultural barometer. Let me see some other stuff. Growing up reading romance. Why are readers horny for fairies? Dealing with these specific parts of the genre. And it has been really entertaining, and it's also led to me reading some more smut and enjoying myself immensely. So it's been pretty great all around. I'm really loving that podcast. I love that it's pointing me in the direction of a couple of things that I might not have given a chance otherwise. There are honestly a couple of things that they reviewed that one of them I DNF'd, and another thing I had no intention of reading, and that episode where they reviewed it basically confirmed for me that I made the right choice. It is not my cup of tea at all and would not be enjoyable for me. But it is really interesting to hear more about these things, get reading recommendations and everything. Another podcast that I started listening to more recently has been Under the Puppet. I started listening to that actually because of a book that I finished reading last month. But Under the Puppet is basically, it follows working puppeteers. It's all about puppetry in general. It's hosted by Grant. He has been a puppeteer for a couple of big things, and he basically, meets with other puppeteers and talks to them about varying things. He talks to his guests about all different kinds of stuff. Very interesting, very entertaining, although I suppose if you're not into puppets, maybe it wouldn't be so entertaining for you. I don't know. I have always loved them. I've always been kind of really interested in them and fascinated by them basically ever since I was a little kid and watched like puppet shows. There were a couple of puppet shows that were put on locally, and I actually got to know those puppeteers later on when I was in high school a little bit. And I would watch those, and then other puppets like Lamb Chop, or The Land of Make Believe, and Mr. Rogers, King Friday, and everybody. I've always just been really interested in puppets and finding them fascinating, and the theater of it, the immersion of puppetry, very interesting. And then when I was in high school, me and some classmates, including a couple of my friends, we ended up making a anti-tobacco play that we put on with puppets. That's how I met these puppeteers, and such a nerdy fucking thing that we did, but I loved it. I really loved it a lot. It was a lot of fun, and I still find puppets really fascinating, really fun. And so I actually really liked reading. I read most recently How to Sell a Haunted House. I saw that there was something about puppets and creepy dolls and stuff like that in there. I didn't realize how heavily prevalent the puppets would be to the overall storyline of that book. Man, was it crazy. I do have to say, though, my love for puppetry has not dimmed. I do not find them creepy still. So, yay. But yeah, anyway, I love puppetry. I think it's so cool. And yeah, probably a little geeky and shit, but I mean, who are the best puppeteers in the world? It's fucking Jim Henson Company, obviously. So, like, it's just so cool shit. It's absolutely cool shit. So, this podcast has been really interesting right now, but I suppose if you don't give a shit about puppets, it's not gonna be good for you. But if you're a fucking nerd like I am, and find them interesting, or you just want to learn more about puppets, about puppetry, about puppeteers in the field, you know, be a good choice to check out. Really. That's it for listening. Okay, let's talk about watching. What things have I been watching? Well, I did my spooky movies. I didn't do all of my spooky movies, though. I did watch The Conjuring, and honestly, I think that was the only... Is that the only spooky movie I watched this year? Or the only spooky movie I watched myself? I really wanted to watch The Shining, but I can't find my physical copy, and I couldn't find a good place to watch it online, unfortunately. Because it is off the streaming services that I use. So, did watch The Conjuring for the 5 millionth time. Still enjoyed it. We had friends over for Halloween and hanging out. That first night for Halloween night, of course, we watched Rocky Horror. Wouldn't be Halloween if we didn't fucking watch Rocky Horror Picture Show, and sing along to everything and dance up or in our seats to the Time Warp, obviously. Love that movie. It's fucking phenomenon. Adore it. That was a lot of fun. Our usual custom. Then the other night we decided we wanted to watch something kind of spooky, but not like super spooky, because one of my friends isn't so much into horror movies, but she likes specific things. And we were talking about what we could watch, and she was like, what about that really cheesy Haunting movie with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Liam Neeson? And I was like, duh, we can watch that. So we watched it. It's so bad, you guys. It's so fucking bad, but it was the first actual horror movie that I watched growing up that wasn't for children, like Frankenweenie or something like that. It was a legit horror movie that I watched. It was the first one I ever watched. Not really scary at all. Not even remotely. Does not hold up. The acting's shit. The writing, not so great. Some of the cinematography is interesting and entertaining and pretty well done. The set design is fucking phenomenal. The CG fucking kills it, though. The CG is really bad. Does not hold up whatsoever. And yeah, like I said, some of the acting is shit, which is disappointing because the actors that they had have acting chops. But they just, I don't know, maybe I'll blame it on the writing, I suppose. It's from 1999. You can tell that it's from 1999. It's based off of The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, of course. It made me want to reread that book, but I haven't as of yet. Because I just reread it last year, and I'm just kind of like, I don't want to reread it right now. I don't know. I have been watching The Office. It was one of my comfort shows a few years ago, and it still kind of is. And I've been watching some of that here and there, and God, does it make me cringe. But some of those episodes are just... Like the fire drill episode, I fucking cannot. It kills me every time. It's so goddamn funny. I laugh until I literally have tears streaming down my cheeks. Like, when Angela fucking throws the cat up into the ceiling, I just lose my shit. I can't fucking deal with it. I love that episode so much. There's so many good ones. So many, like, ones that don't exactly hit the mark either, but so many more good ones. In those early seasons anyway. I have finally gone back to watching NCIS. I'm still trying to catch up. I'm on season 18. I'm actually, I just paused so I could film this video, and I kind of needed to take a break anyway. It is the first episode where COVID is apparent. We are now into COVID times, besides the fact that there's also little sad bits to that episode anyway, because one of the characters is grieving. It's also just a lot because everyone's doing protocols and wearing masks and things like that, and it's just kind of bringing me back a little bit. So I'm just kind of like, oh my god. So I did pause in watching it because I was just like, man, I need to chill for a minute before I continue watching that episode. What else? With my friends, we've been watching Nailed It a lot, mostly the Halloween episodes. Very entertaining, a lot of fun. A lot of fun. That show is so ridiculous. And then Great British Bake Off. My husband and I have still been watching Great British Bake Off. We're behind, I think, currently. I think it's currently all done on Netflix right now. But we just watched the quarterfinal episode, so we just have the semifinals and the finals episode left. So we find out who won. Don't tell me. I don't want to know yet. But we were sad because one of our little babies who we thought was going to be in the final 3 was not. However, one of our dark horses, because we had like 3 that we thought were probably going to be in, and then we had like one dark horse that we were like, I think this one might be like an alternate person. And so far we've been right. So we're just not sure about the 4th person who's going to leave at the end of the semifinal episode. But really great season of Great British Bake Off, besides the fact that everyone this season has been so incredibly talented, and like everybody's usually talented, but like this season, last season too, wow. But like this season, right out the gate, people are just blowing us away anyway, me and my husband, but definitely blowing the judges away in some ways too. And it is crazy talent, and really entertaining bakers, and yeah, just a really good time. Really interesting bakes, so really love that show. And then last for like watching, I have a couple of anime that actually just marked down recently, that I really want to watch, like stuff that has been this fall season. Yeah, I marked like 4 or 5 down, I think, that seem really entertaining and I'm gonna have to check out, but I haven't watched them yet. Let's see, Frieren Journey's End is amazing. We really watched that towards the end of the summer, but also in the beginning of fall. We basically finished off what is out and caught up in it. We're just waiting on new stuff coming out, I believe. But I just kind of started half watching on a whim because my husband was watching it, or rather he was feeling like he wanted to rewatch it. And I got fucking hooked within a couple episodes, and I was like, okay, now I am paying attention. And I'm loving it a lot. Damn, it's so beautiful, it's entertaining, the music is so good. Like, it's been a while since I've watched an anime where I've just been so fucking impressed by the music too. Like, the opening, of course, is always good, but like, no, the episode music within it, not just the opening and the ending, but like all of it is so good, so atmospheric. I adore it. And the storyline itself, the characters, the character growth, the humor is so good. Yeah, I'm really loving it. And then most recently, my husband and I have been watching Ranma Half, the new version that's on Netflix. And I didn't so much like that anime when I was in high school, like the OG. I wasn't super into the anime because I found one of the voices of them to be like just kind of annoying. Same reason why I didn't really continue watching Sailor Moon, the anime, because I found one of the characters' voices so annoying I couldn't stomach it. But I did read a bunch of the manga. So yeah, I didn't really watch a lot of the anime. I think I watched like a couple episodes, handful or whatever, and then I really read a lot more of the manga. And I did enjoy it, but it wasn't one of those that I really decided to. I don't think I actually finished reading it. Because there's so many other things that I was into or was more interested in at the time. But this one, man, I'm actually really enjoying it. It's just really good. Again, great opening song. But yeah, very entertaining. I still find Shampoo to be the most annoying character. But not quite as annoying as Haposai. We just met him in the episode we watched most recently, and God, I still hate that little pervert. But yeah, anyway, have been enjoying the Rama Half remake a lot more than I thought I was going to. Let's see. What are my other categories? Taste of the season. Pumpkin everything. Really has been pumpkin everything. I've had a couple of pumpkin spice iced coffees. Not too many because with my anxiety meds, I'm being a little more careful on my caffeine intake. I'm like not doing so much coffee, and I'm doing like soda, as you saw me with the Coke. Soda, but I'm doing that later in the day and trying to keep it to like a minimum, because otherwise it just seems to like counteract my anxiety meds, which sucks because I need them, obviously. Let's see, Coke. Yep, been kind of addicted to that lately because I've mostly gotten off of coffee. So Coke has been the thing that I've been craving. So lots of Coca-Cola is what I've been drinking. Let's see, coffee and tea at work. I have had a couple of cups of coffee here and there later on in the afternoon, but mostly it's been tea at work. Our boss really wanted to set up a really nice drink station for us in our building, and it finally happened a couple of months ago. They got that done, and it's a really nice station. We got a sink put in finally, so we don't have to like wash our dishes after lunch in the bathroom. We have like an actual workable sink, which is wonderful. And the fridge is over there, and then it's a full drink station. You know, we've got all this little flavor, the Tarani stuff. And then she ended up getting a really cool drink machine, which also does like hot water and stuff for tea, but all different kinds of like coffee drink options, which is sweet. So been very nice. I've definitely been taking advantage of that later in the mornings to make like tea and put like a flavoring in my tea and stuff. It's been wicked nice. Let's see, apple treats. Lots of apple treats too. We just recently had these apple cinnamon muffins that we got from the grocery store. They had like a little bit of icing drizzle on them too. Fantastic. Honestly, delicious. I think I enjoy them actually more than the pumpkin muffins that we've been having. I made pumpkin cake not that long ago. Oh, for my birthday, my mom always makes a birthday cake for me. And she asked me what I would like this year. And I said, you know what, I'm kind of feeling hobbity. I was like, a hobbit cake. Like, what kind of cake would a hobbit eat? That's kind of the vibe I want to go with. So she was like, cool. I'll make a spice cake. Guys, it's a pumpkin spice cake with cream cheese frosting and chocolate ganache. Fan-fucking-tastic. I'll see if I can get a picture from her of the cake so I can show you guys what it looked like, because she also decorated it really cute. It's pretty great. Lots of pumpkin, lots of apple cider. Been drinking a lot of apple cider. We kind of missed apple picking. We fucked up on that one. We thought about it too late in the season. Of course, everybody's already gone, so didn't get to do that. But we have been enjoying, like, all of that stuff, though. And, like, soups and stews. I've been having a lot of soups and stews lately. Scents of the season. Perfumes. I've got the perfumes. My usuals. I've got like 2 kind of fall scents from Bath and Body Works from like, I don't know, a year or 2 ago. One is pumpkin pecan waffle, which smells fan-fucking-tastic. And then the other one is like this kind of, I think it's called like enchantment or something like that. And it kind of smells like vanilla-y, but with a little bit of added spice in. And that one's my go-to, honestly. Candles. Been burning a lot of candles. Trying to actually make use of them, because sometimes I like burning candles, but I also have a habit of like not burning them so often because I'm like, I'm saving them, and it's like, stop it. I was saving them for what? Fucking just burn them. So I've been trying to burn them more often. It definitely makes things a lot more cozy in here. Incense. Yeah, a lot of incense I've been burning. My favorite, dragon's blood. I'm actually just about out of that, which sucks. I'll have to get some more. And some sandalwood is always pretty good. We've been doing some baking. I just made beer bread this past weekend. It's cheddar chive Guinness bread. It is fucking phenomenal and is extra good with like stew or something. My husband made beef bourguignon this past weekend, and cheese sauce, is that delicious. It was so fucking good. And having it over mashed potatoes with the beer bread was just so good. Let's see, what other baking have I done? Oh, I made cookies the other weekend with like this kind of salted caramel cream cheese frosting, which was like pretty darn good, actually. That turned out better than the cookies. The cookies themselves kind of got way too rock hard. I actually followed a chocolate chip cookie recipe, but I didn't put chocolate chips in it. I instead added like spices, so like cinnamon and clove and nutmeg. I added to it instead to make like different cookies. I don't know what I did, how I did. They didn't turn out like normal cookies. They got really fucking hard. So I think something fucked up somewhere. I don't know. Cooking is an art and baking is a science, and I failed science. There's smells of the season. Fall walk smells. Going for walks and smelling that good dead leaf orgy smell, basically. Decaying leaves, the wet, damp, the decaying leaves, the damp air, the spicy scent of everything and smoke, and yeah, I don't know. Just being outside and smelling the outdoors this time of year is always pretty great. One of my favorite scents, honestly. Which brings me to the last thing, going for fall walks. Like I said, haven't been on too many, but have been on a couple, and they have been delightful all the time. I'll show you some pictures from our most recent walk that I did with some friends. Just the previous weekend, we went to this little park, and walked through the woods, and it was great. I got some really good pictures, had some fun, enjoying nature with my friends, saw a couple of cute doggos. Yeah, it was a good time. Like I said, baking treats, made some treats, probably gonna be making some more treats. I have to figure out what I'm gonna make for Thanksgiving. I might make gingerbread cheesecake, and I might not. I haven't made up my mind. It might just end up being like a pumpkin pie or something. I don't know. Like I said, listening to spooky things. I've been listening to spooky podcasts. Been listening to that while crafting. Been watching things while crafting, while knitting. I have been knitting. I am making scarves for people. This is going to be one scarf. I've already finished a scarf. It took me a week to knit it, which is pretty great. So I'm making lots more scarves this season, I think, because that took me like basically no time at all to actually get that done, which is shocking. These colors are specifically because I'm making sports team scarves. Scarves relate to a couple of sports teams for a couple of family members. So working on that currently. Probably going to be doing some more knitting and some more crafting, but that's been really great. Doing that while listening to something or while watching stuff. And it's honestly great because it's being productive. It's keeping my brain busy, my hands busy. is keeping me from fucking scrolling on my phone. I have a real bad habit of doom scrolling. I'm multitasking in that way while watching something. Even when I'm meant to be like paying attention to the thing that I want to watch, I instead find myself like just doom scrolling and dreading and having a hard time. And that's been really great to keep me distracted and keep me from doing that by keeping my hands busy while I am still engaging with whatever the hell is currently on TV or playing off of my laptop or whatever. So that's been pretty great. I did some decorating. I put some things around. I've got a couple of things over here, as you can see. Then some fall stuff, so that's been pretty good. Everything is still up for Halloween. I think this coming weekend I'm gonna put away the ghosties and skulls and things and just leave the regular fall leaves and woodland animals up until after Thanksgiving. So yeah, that's that. It took me a while to get into decorating. I really dragged my feet on that, but I did feel much better once I did. Let's see, I set up something that I've been doing over the past few years has been, I can't call it an ofrenda because first of all it's not really one, and I'm also not Mexican heritage, but I guess it's similar to that idea. I set up an ancestor altar, basically, where I put out photos of loved ones who have passed, and some of them are my family members, some of them are my husband's family members, and then also animals that we've loved over the years, our own pets, our other family members' pets that we've loved, who put their pictures out. And then I always leave water, a glass of water out, candles, and then I also leave like things associated with them. For example, my grandma likes seahorses, so I have a little stone seahorse and I put that out. We have family members who really like the ocean, so I put seashells on there. I have my great grandmother's thimble I always put on there, or flowers from the memorial service, or and stuff like that. And then also treats, some kind of treats that they liked. I have family members who like peanut butter, so I left some Reese's cups on there, and stuff like that. And the idea of like those offerings and like the water is like the veil's thin, so their souls stop by on the way possibly to say hi, so you leave that kind of stuff out for them is the general idea. And that whole setup in and of itself is like a way of remembrance and making yourself feel closer to them, the people that you loved who are now gone. I also have something, I just started doing it like a couple of years ago, when I was looking at different traditions and things to do for Samhain, or Halloween, and one of them was like memories, stuff like that. So I have a jar on which my husband and I have written down little memories for each of these people, like really memories of them that we really love, and just kind of have that on there. It's like, hey, this is a really great thing. So it's like this thing is giving more energy to the idea of these loved ones who we miss. And then it's also just nice to go through the little jar and be like, oh yeah, that was a really sweet memory, or something like that. It's like a remembrance kind of thing, I guess. So I did set that up, and that was really nice to do, again, because I haven't really been doing a lot of like witchy things over the past like year and a half, so it's been really nice to like do something. Let's see what else. Watching spooky movies, like I said, we watched some spooky movies, watched some Halloween movies, watched like David S. Pumpkins and some other like SNL Halloween specials and stuff like that, just silly stuff mostly. And my one of my besties and I, we ended up watching Scary Movie 2, which was great. Honestly, out of all the scary movies, I think that one is my favorite. It's just so ridiculous. But, what else? Reading. Just been doing some reading. Really, lots of reading smut. I am currently still reading... Oh, hi, buddy. Currently still reading Bull Moon Rising. Entertaining. I've also read a couple of audiobooks. Smutty audiobooks, of course. You will hear more about them in my October wrap-up, and I imagine my November wrap-up as well, because I did just finish listening to one a couple of days ago, and I've listened to part of another one so far. So those have been really entertaining while I'm doing other things. So yeah, that's been really great, right, buddy? It's been really great. I'm just hanging out with these bugaboos, you know. I don't know where your sister went. Where'd she go? Is she in the other room? But yeah, it's just been a really weird fall because we didn't do all of the things that I really wanted to do. Even though it's still technically fall, it's still like partway through November right now. So there's other fall activities we can still do. It's just those usual ones that we like doing, like the apple picking and the haunted houses and varying types of things like that. We didn't really partake in those, so it has felt a little weird. Now it's starting to get chilly. Like today, I'm wrapped up in blankets because I have the heat on low. I'm unwilling, you know, in this economy, I don't want to turn the heat up more. Snuggling up in blankets today because I had today off from work. So but yeah, anyway, it's just been a weird fall, but an okay fall at the same time. Anyways, guys, those have been my fall vibes. Rather than make this any longer by talking nonsense, please let me know what your fall vibes have been down below. And let me know if any of yours are similar to mine or whatever. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for always watching. If you're new here and would like to subscribe, please indeed do so. And I will see you in the next video. Bye. Say bye, Saki. Bye-bye. Oh.